Most people think strength is loud. They think power is reaction. They think winning means proving something. They're wrong. The strongest person in the room is the one who does not react, the one who does not explain, the one who stays calm while others lose control. Because when you control your emotions, you control your decisions. When you control your decisions, you control your life. This audiobook will teach you why emotional control is not weakness, it is dominance. And by the end, you will never give your power away again. Chapter 1. Emotional reactions are leaks of power. Most people don't realize when they lose power. They think power is taken from them. It isn't. Power is leaked. Every emotional reaction is a leak. Every outburst, every defensive explanation, every moment you rush to prove, justify, or correct. Power does not disappear, it transfers. When you react emotionally, you hand control to whatever triggered you, a person, a comment, a situation, a memory. Read that again. What you react to controls you. This is the first law of emotional strength. The world is not attacking you, it is testing your self-command. And most people fail the test instantly. They speak too fast, they explain too much, they raise their voice, they show irritation on their face, they give away their inner state for free. That is not honesty, that is exposure. Emotional reactions reveal your pressure points. They show people where to push. They teach others how to control you. Think about every argument you've lost, not logically, but energetically. The person who reacted first lost leverage. The person who stayed calm gained it. Always. This is why children provoke adults. This is why manipulators provoke targets. This is why weak people insult strong ones. They are fishing for a reaction, because reactions give information. Information creates advantage. Advantage creates dominance. And dominance does not require force, it requires restraint. Most people confuse reaction with strength. They think anger means courage. They think passion means power. They think expression means confidence. It doesn't. Uncontrolled emotion is not power. It is exposure without protection. Strong people don't react quickly. They react deliberately, or they don't react at all. Pause here and be honest. How many times have you ruined your position by reacting? How many times have you sent the message you later regretted? How many times have you spoken while emotional and weakened your authority? That wasn't bad luck, that was lack of control. Here's the hard truth. The moment you react emotionally, you are no longer choosing, you are being chosen. Your nervous system is driving, your ego is speaking, your power is offline. This is why emotional people feel exhausted. They are constantly leaking energy, constantly repairing damage, constantly explaining themselves. Controlled people don't need to explain. Their presence speaks first. Look at any high-stakes environment, boardrooms, courtrooms, negotiation tables, leadership meetings. The loudest person is rarely the strongest, the calmest one is. Because calmness signals self-trust, self-trust signals authority, authority reshapes the room. Emotional reactions do the opposite, they shrink you. They tell others, this situation is bigger than me. This person can affect me. This moment controls my state. Never advertise that. Here's the behavioral shift you must make starting now.
You stop reacting immediately. You delay response. You insert space. Not because you are weak, because you are disciplined. Discipline always looks like silence at first. When something triggers you, do not speak, do not text, do not explain, do not defend. Breathe. Observe the urge. Let it pass. Urges are waves. Power is the shore. If you can ride the wave without moving, you remain in control. This does not mean suppression. It means selection. You are not denying emotion. You are deciding when it is allowed to speak. That is mastery. Here's a simple rule. Never speak while your body is tense. Tension means emotion is driving. Relaxation means choice is available. Drop your shoulders. Slow your breathing. Lower your voice. Your body leads your mind. This is not theory. This is biology. The calmer you become, the more options appear. The more options appear, the stronger your position becomes. Remember this phrase. Repeat it internally. Reaction is surrender. Response is control. Most people live in reaction. They think life is happening to them. Controlled people live in response. They understand life is testing them. From this moment forward, you train one thing above all else. Pause. Pause before responding. Pause before correcting. Pause before reacting. That pause is where your power lives. People will notice. They will feel it before they understand it. Your stillness will unsettle emotional minds. That is good. Because emotional minds cannot control calm ones. And this is the foundation of everything that follows in this audiobook. If you cannot control your reactions, nothing else matters. No technique, no strategy, no mindset. Emotional control is the base layer of strength. And now you understand the truth. Every reaction is a leak. Every pause is a reclaiming of power. In the next chapter we go deeper, because calm is not passive. Calm is not soft. Calm is strategic. And once you understand that, you stop leaking power forever.
Chapter 2. Calm is not passive. Calm is strategic. Most people misunderstand calm. They think calm means letting things slide. They think calm means weakness. They think calm means you don't care. That belief keeps them reactive, and reaction keeps them powerless. Calm is not passive. Calm is preparation. Calm is the space where strategy is formed. When you are emotional, you are narrow. You see only one option: react, attack, defend, escape. When you are calm, your vision widens. You see timing. You see leverage. You see consequences. That is why calm people win long games. Emotional people play short games. They want relief now. They want validation now. They want to be right now. Calm people want results later, and later always beats now. Think of every situation where someone kept their cool and walked away with more. They weren't weak, they were patient. Patience is strength stretched over time. Calmness buys time. Time buys options. Options create power. Repeat that. Calm buys time. Time buys options. Options create power. This is why the calm person always feels dangerous to emotional people, because emotional people sense it. They feel the imbalance. They rush, you wait. They talk, you listen.
They expose, you observe. Silence gathers information. Emotion gives it away. In negotiations, the first person to rush loses. In conflict, the first person to explode loses. In life, the first person to panic loses. Always. Calm is not the absence of intensity. It is intensity under control. A loaded weapon on safety. Look at people who truly dominate their environments. Not influencers, not performers. Real operators. They speak slowly. They move deliberately. They are rarely surprised. That is not personality. That is training. They trained themselves to stay calm when others spike emotionally. Here's a hard truth. If you need to react to feel strong, you are not strong. You are compensating. Strength does not need to announce itself. It does not need to rush. It waits because it knows it can. Most people rush because they fear losing control. Calm people wait because they already have it. This is where strategy lives. Strategy is impossible when you are emotional. Emotion collapses the future into the present. Strategy requires distance. When you are calm, you can ask questions instead of making statements. You can let others talk themselves into mistakes. You can allow silence to apply pressure. Pressure reveals truth. Emotional people crack under pressure. Calm people apply it. Here is a real-world example. Two people are criticized publicly. One reacts, explains, defends, gets emotional. The other stays calm, says little, maintains composure. Who looks credible? Always the calm one, because calm signals confidence in one's position. Reaction signals insecurity about it. Another example. Someone disrespects you verbally. The emotional response is to escalate, raise your voice, match energy. The strategic response is to pause, lower your voice, force them to feel their own behavior. One gives them power, the other takes it. Calm creates asymmetry, and asymmetry is dominance. You must rewire how you view calm. Calm is not losing. Calm is loading. Loading information, loading leverage, loading positioning. Every second you stay calm while others react, you gain ground. Here is the behavioral instruction. When tension rises, slow down on purpose. Speak slower than normal. Move less than normal. Say fewer words than normal. This feels unnatural at first because your nervous system wants release. Do not give it release. Give it control. Breathe through your nose. Exhale longer than you inhale. This signals safety to your body. Safety restores choice. Once choice returns, strategy appears. Another rule: never match emotional energy. Matching is surrender. You do not meet chaos with chaos. You meet chaos with structure. Structure always wins. Calm is structure in human form. People will test this. They will push harder. They will provoke more. That is how you know it's working. They are trying to drag you down to a level they can operate in. Do not go. Stay above. You are not calm because you are afraid. You are calm because you are disciplined. Discipline is invisible strength, and once people feel it, they adjust. They speak differently to you. They behave differently around you. They hesitate before crossing lines. Not because you threatened them, because your calm made it clear you are not easily moved. That is respect. This chapter builds directly on the last. Emotional reactions leak power. Calm seals it. Calm is not passive. Calm is strategic positioning. And in the next chapter, we take this further. because emotional control does more than protect your power. It separates leaders from followers. And once you see that divide clearly, you will never want to cross back again.
Chapter 3. Emotional control separates leaders from followers. Leadership is not a title. It is not authority. It is not position. Leadership is emotional gravity. People move toward those who are stable. They drift away from those who are reactive. This is not theory. It is instinct. Humans have always followed the calmest nervous system in the group, in danger, in chaos, in uncertainty. The one who panics spreads fear. The one who stays composed creates order. Order is leadership. Followers react to events. Leaders respond to them. That single difference changes everything. Most people let their environment decide their emotional state. Traffic controls them. Messages control them. Other people's moods control them. That is the follower mindset. Leaders decide their internal state first, then they engage the environment. That is emotional command. You cannot lead others if you cannot lead yourself. And you cannot lead yourself if your emotions lead you. Look closely at group dynamics. In families, the most emotionally stable person becomes the anchor. In workplaces, the calmest person becomes the reference point. In crises, the composed person becomes the authority. Not because they are loud, because they are trusted. Trust is built on predictability. Emotional people are unpredictable. Calm people are reliable. People do not trust what they cannot predict. Every emotional outburst erodes trust. Every calm response builds it. This is why emotional control is not optional if you want influence. It is the cost of entry. Here is something most people don't want to hear. If people do not follow you, it is not because they don't respect your ideas. It is because they don't trust your emotional stability. Ideas are cheap. Stability is rare. Leaders are pressure containers. They hold stress so others don't have to. Followers discharge stress onto others. Leaders absorb it without reacting. That is strength. Watch how people behave around emotional leaders. They hide information. They walk on eggshells. They disengage. Watch how people behave around calm leaders. They speak honestly. They stay longer. They perform better. Calm leadership creates safety. Safety unlocks performance. This applies everywhere, at work, at home, in relationships. If you lose emotional control, you lose moral authority. The moment you yell, threaten, or explode, you step down energetically. You may still have power on paper, but you lose influence in reality. Here is the repetition you must internalize. The one who can be provoked cannot lead. Provocation is a test. Most people fail it instantly. Someone questions them, they react. Someone disagrees, they defend. Someone disrespects, they explode. And in doing so, they hand leadership away. Leaders don't need to win every exchange. They need to win the frame. The frame is emotional. If you control the emotional frame, you control the interaction. This is why great leaders speak less during conflict. They let others exhaust themselves emotionally. Exhaustion reveals hierarchy. The one who remains calm longest rises naturally. Here is a practical shift. Stop trying to correct people emotionally. Correction from emotion is control-seeking. Correction from calm is authority. When someone is wrong, let silence work first. Let questions do the work. Let time expose the flaw. You do not need to dominate.
You need to remain unmoved. Another rule: never lead while triggered. If you are angry, postpone decisions. If you are emotional, delay direction. If you are frustrated, slow the process. Emotion contaminates leadership decisions. Calm purifies them. This does not mean you never show emotion. It means emotion never shows you. You choose when and how it appears. That choice is leadership. Remember this: people don't follow the smartest person. They follow the steadiest one. They follow the one whose emotional state does not collapse under pressure. That steadiness communicates something powerful. I can handle this. If I'm calm, you can be too. We're safe here. That is leadership at its core. This chapter ties directly to the last. Calm is strategic, and strategy is what separates leaders from followers. If you want influence, authority, respect, you must become emotionally unmovable. In the next chapter, we sharpen this further, because not every conflict deserves your attention. Not every battle is real. Most conflicts are traps, and once you see them clearly, you stop wasting power where it doesn't belong.
Chapter 4. Most conflicts are traps, not battles. Most people think conflict is something to win. They are wrong. Most conflict is something to avoid. Not because you are weak, because it is designed to drain you. Conflicts are not always about truth. They are often about control. And the fastest way to lose control is to fight every invitation. Here is the truth few people accept. Not every challenge is a test of strength. Many are tests of discipline. The world is full of bait, comments, insults, provocations, disrespect disguised as honesty. The emotionally undisciplined take the bait every time. They argue online with strangers. They explain themselves to people who don't care. They fight battles that don't move their life forward. That is not courage. That is ego. Ego wants engagement. Power wants efficiency. Every conflict costs energy. If it doesn't buy leverage, it is a bad investment. Here is the phrase you must repeat until it sticks. You don't win by engaging. You win by choosing. Choosing which conflicts deserve your attention. Most do not. Ask yourself this question before engaging in any conflict. Does this change my position? If the answer is no, walk away. If the answer is maybe, pause. If the answer is yes, engage calmly. Emotional people engage first and think later. Controlled people think first and often disengage. This is why emotional people feel constantly attacked. They treat every interaction as a battlefield. Calm people feel untouched. They do not enter arenas built to trap them. Look at social media. It is a conflict factory, designed to provoke, designed to polarize, designed to extract emotional energy. Every argument you enter feeds the system and starves you. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is refusal. Refusal to play a losing game. Another example: personal relationships. Many arguments are not about the topic. They are about emotional release. Someone is frustrated. They look for a target. You react, and suddenly you are in a fight you did not create. The disciplined response is not escalation. It is clarity. You say less. You stay calm. You refuse to absorb emotion that isn't yours.
That is emotional boundary. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They decide what gets in and what doesn't. People without emotional control have no filters. Everything gets in. Everything affects them. Controlled people filter ruthlessly. They let information in, they block chaos out. Here is a hard rule. If a conflict cannot be solved calmly, it cannot be solved at all. Emotion does not resolve. Emotion amplifies. So when voices rise, you lower yours. When accusations increase, you decrease engagement. When drama escalates, you step back. This frustrates emotional people. They want reaction. They want validation. They want energy exchange. Do not give it. Energy is currency. Spend it wisely. This is where emotional control becomes visible strength. Walking away from pointless conflict takes more strength than winning a useless argument. Only insecure people need to prove themselves constantly. Secure people protect their peace. Here is a behavioral instruction. Adopt the 3-strike rule. If someone pushes emotionally once, observe. Twice, disengage slightly. 3 times, remove access. Not dramatically, not emotionally, logistically. Less availability, shorter responses, more distance. No explanation needed. Explanation invites debate. Distance creates clarity. Remember this. Access is privilege, not a right. Your emotional availability is earned. If someone repeatedly creates conflict, they lose access. This is not punishment. It is self-respect. This chapter locks into the theme. Emotional control is strength because it allows you to see traps before stepping into them. Most people fight imaginary wars. They exhaust themselves, proving nothing. Controlled people conserve energy for battles that actually matter. In the next chapter, we go internal. Because emotional control is not just mental, it is physiological. Your nervous system is your command center. And once you learn to control it, calm becomes automatic.
Chapter 5. Your nervous system is your command center. Most people try to control emotions with thoughts. That is why they fail. Emotion does not start in the mind, it starts in the body. By the time you feel angry, anxious, or defensive, your nervous system has already decided. Your heart rate changed, your breathing shortened, your muscles tightened. The reaction already began. This is why telling yourself to calm down rarely works. You are speaking too late. Emotional control is not willpower, it is regulation. And regulation begins in the nervous system. Here is the truth. If your body is dysregulated, your mind will lie to you. It will justify reactions. It will rationalize bad decisions. It will convince you that reacting is necessary. That is not logic. That is biology hijacking reason. The nervous system has 2 modes: threat, safety. In threat mode, you fight, flee, or freeze. In safety mode, you think, plan, and choose. Emotional strength is the ability to move yourself from threat to safety on command. That is mastery. Calm people are not born calm. They trained their nervous system. They taught their body that pressure is not danger. That training starts with awareness. You must learn to feel the earliest signs of activation: tight jaw,
shallow breath, raised shoulders, fast speech. These are alarms. Do not ignore them. Respond to them, not by reacting outwardly, but by regulating inwardly. Here is the first instruction. Slow your breathing immediately. Long exhales tell the nervous system there is no threat. Inhale through the nose, exhale longer than you inhale. This is not spiritual, it is mechanical. Your vagus nerve responds to breath. Your heart rate slows. Your mind regains access. Calm returns before thought does. Second instruction. Lower your body tension. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Relax your hands. Tension signals readiness for conflict. Relaxation signals control. This does not make you weak. It makes you unreactive. Unreactive people are dangerous because they cannot be rushed. Third instruction. Slow your movements. Fast movements amplify emotional states. Slow movements interrupt them. Move deliberately. Sit still. Reduce gestures. Stillness stabilizes the system. This is why silence feels uncomfortable to emotional people. Their nervous system cannot tolerate it. Yours must learn to. This is where power lives. Most people try to control emotion after it explodes. Controlled people interrupt it before it peaks. That is the difference. Think of a thermostat. It doesn't argue with heat, it regulates it. You must become your own thermostat. When pressure rises, you regulate. Not suppress, not explode. Regulate. Here's an example. Someone sends you a disrespectful message. Your heart spikes. Your fingers want to respond immediately. That urge is nervous system activation. Do not follow it. Pause. Breathe. Relax your body. Wait until your body settles, then decide. If you respond while activated, you lose power. If you respond after regulation, you gain it. Always. Another example. A confrontation in person. The other person raises their voice. Your body prepares to match. Do not. Lower your voice. Slow your speech. Relax your posture. Your nervous system influences theirs. Calm is contagious when it is embodied. This is why calm people can de-escalate rooms without saying much. Their body is communicating safety. Here is a key repetition. Slow the body, the mind will follow. Say it again. Slow the body, the mind will follow. You do not need to feel calm to act calm. Act calm first. Feeling follows behavior. This chapter matters because emotional control is not intellectual, it is physiological. If you do not train your nervous system, you will always leak power under pressure. But if you do, calm becomes automatic. And when calm is automatic, your presence changes. In the next chapter, we move to one of the most feared tools of emotional strength: silence. Because silence is not emptiness, it is pressure, and most people cannot handle it.
Chapter 6. Silence is a weapon most people fear. Silence makes emotional people uncomfortable. That is why they rush to fill it. They talk, they explain, they justify. Every word they add reduces their leverage. Silence does the opposite. Silence applies pressure without effort. It forces others to sit with their own thoughts, their own words, their own insecurity. That is why silence is powerful.
Most people think silence is awkward. It isn't. Silence is controlled space. Whoever controls the space controls the interaction. In conversations, the person who speaks less often has more power because words reveal position. Silence hides it. Emotional people cannot tolerate silence because silence removes validation. They need feedback. They need reaction. They need energy exchange. When you deny that, you shift the balance. Think of negotiations. The person who speaks first after an offer usually loses. They fill silence with concessions. Calm people let silence work. They wait. Waiting forces the other side to move. This is not manipulation. This is discipline. Silence does not mean you have nothing to say. It means you are choosing when to say it. That choice is power. In conflict, silence reframes the dynamic. If someone insults you and you respond immediately, you validate the insult. If you pause, you signal that their words do not control you. Often, the silence says more than any response could. It communicates, I am not affected. I am not rushed. I am not playing. That unsettles emotional minds. They expected a reaction. They got nothing. Nothing is terrifying to an ego seeking engagement. Silence also creates contrast. When you finally speak, your words carry weight. Emotional people talk constantly. Their words blend into noise. Controlled people speak selectively. Their words land. Here is a critical rule. Never break silence to relieve discomfort. If you speak to reduce tension, you lose leverage. Let the tension sit. Tension reveals truth. The person who cracks under silence is the person without control. That is not you. Another rule. Silence is strongest when paired with calm presence. Not coldness, not hostility. Calm. Neutral face, steady eye contact, relaxed posture. Your body must say, I am comfortable here. If your body fidgets, your silence loses power. Practice this. In conversations, pause longer than normal before responding. Count silently. 1, 2, 3. Most people rush at 1. Those extra seconds change the frame. They show that you are not reactive, that you are deliberate. This applies everywhere, at work, in relationships, in disagreements. Someone asks a challenging question. Pause, think, then respond. People will perceive intelligence even if the content is simple. Why? Because speed is associated with reaction. Pausing is associated with thought. Another example. Someone confronts you emotionally. They expect defense. They expect justification. Give them silence. Let them explain themselves further. Let them expose their motivation. Often they will talk themselves into weakness. Silence invites overexposure. Words reveal, silence conceals. This is why silence is feared. It removes control from emotional people. They cannot manage what you don't give them. Remember this phrase. Silence forces truth to surface. When people are uncomfortable, they reveal themselves. Let them. You are not responsible for making others comfortable. You are responsible for protecting your power. This chapter ties back directly. Emotional reactions leak power. Calm seals it. Silence weaponizes it. Silence is not avoidance. It is pressure without effort. In the next chapter, we go even deeper, because emotional mastery does something extraordinary. It makes you unreadable. And when people cannot read you, they cannot control you.
Chapter 7. Emotional mastery makes you unreadable. People control what they can predict. They manipulate what they can read. They exploit what they understand.
That is why emotional transparency, when uncontrolled, is weakness. If people can read your face, read your tone, read your reactions, they can time you. And timing is power. Most people advertise their emotional state constantly. They smile when pleased. They frown when challenged. They stiffen when insecure. They react when touched emotionally. They think this is authenticity. It isn't. It is predictability. And predictability is vulnerability. Emotionally mastered people are different. They do not deny emotion. They regulate expression. You do not know when they are bothered. You do not know when they are pleased. You do not know when they are offended. Not because they are cold, because they are selective. This creates psychological distance. Distance creates respect. When people cannot read you, they hesitate. Hesitation slows manipulation. This is why unreadable people feel powerful in a room. They are not reactive on cue. They are not feeding the emotional rhythm. They disrupt it. Think about this carefully. Have you ever been around someone who stayed neutral no matter what you said? No visible reaction, no emotional spike, no easy feedback. It felt unsettling. Why? Because you lost control of the interaction. You couldn't tell where you stood. You couldn't adjust your behavior to influence them. That is the effect of emotional mastery. Unreadability is not mystery. It is discipline. Here is the repetition you must internalize. Predictable emotions create predictable outcomes. If people know how to get a rise out of you, they own a lever. Remove the lever, and they lose leverage. This applies to praise as much as insult. People who overreact to praise can be controlled by validation. People who overreact to criticism can be controlled by threat. Controlled people receive both calmly. They nod, they listen, they move on. They do not spike, they do not crash. This emotional flatness creates internal stability. Stability creates dominance. Here is a practical shift. Practice emotional neutrality in low-stakes situations. When someone compliments you, do not inflate. When someone challenges you lightly, do not defend. When something annoys you slightly, do not display it. This is training. You are teaching your nervous system that expression is optional. Optional expression is power. Another rule. Never let others know immediately what affects you. Delay disclosure. If something bothers you, do not reveal it instantly. Sit with it, process it privately, then decide if it deserves expression. Most things don't. Unreadable does not mean unfeeling, it means internally processed. Strong people process inward before responding outward. Weak people process outward and regret it later. Here is a real-world example. In negotiations, the person who shows excitement loses leverage. In relationships, the person who shows emotional dependence loses balance. In conflict, the person who shows anger loses control. Emotion displayed too quickly collapses your position. Emotion regulated protects it. This is why high-level operators appear calm in extreme situations. They trained themselves to keep their inner state private. Not hidden, private. Privacy is strength. Ask yourself this honestly. Do people know exactly how to push your buttons? Do they know what annoys you, what flatters you, what triggers you? If yes, you have work to do, because those are access points. Close them. You close them through regulation, not repression. Feel internally, express selectively. This chapter ties everything together so far. Emotional reactions leak power. Calm preserves it.
Silence concentrates it. Unreadability protects it. And now, in the next chapter, we turn this inward even further. Because emotional control is not built in public, it is built in private. What you do when no one is watching determines how unshakable you are when everyone is.
Chapter 8. Control is built in private, displayed in public. Emotional control is not built during confrontation. It is revealed there. It is built elsewhere, in private, in silence, when no one is watching. Most people try to be calm only when pressure hits. That is too late. You don't rise to the level of the moment. You fall to the level of your training. And emotional control requires training. Private discipline creates public stability. What you tolerate internally becomes what you display externally. If you indulge emotional impulses in private, you will leak them in public. If you train restraint in private, you will embody calm under pressure. This is the hidden work. The work no one applauds, the work that changes everything. Private moments reveal your real level. When you feel the urge to send a message immediately, when you want to vent to someone, when you want to complain, explain, or justify, those moments are training grounds. Every urge resisted strengthens your control. Every impulse indulged weakens it. Here is the repetition. You train in silence so you can stand in storms. Most people discharge emotion instantly. They text, they post, they rant, they seek relief. Relief feels good short-term, but it steals long-term strength. Controlled people delay relief. They sit with discomfort. They allow emotion to pass without expression. That builds capacity. Capacity to hold pressure. Capacity to remain calm. Capacity to choose later. That capacity is strength. Here is a private rule you must adopt. Do not immediately act on emotional urges. Wait. Not forever, long enough for the emotion to subside. If the urge still makes sense after calm returns, act deliberately. Most urges disappear when calm arrives. That tells you everything. Another private discipline. Limit emotional rehearsal. Do not replay arguments in your head. Do not fantasize about responses. Do not mentally relive disrespect. Mental rehearsal strengthens emotional patterns. What you rehearse, you reinforce. Instead, redirect attention. Breathe. Move your body. Focus outward. Starve the emotional loop. This is training. Another instruction. Practice delayed gratification emotionally. You already understand this physically. You train your body. You delay food. You delay comfort. Do the same emotionally. Delay reaction. Delay expression. Delay validation. Delayed emotion builds authority. Instant emotion destroys it. This is why composed people seem naturally calm. They are not. They practiced restraint when it didn't matter, so it would work when it did. Here is a clear example. You receive a message that irritates you. Old pattern, respond immediately. New discipline, wait 1 hour. During that hour, regulate your body. Then reread the message. You will respond differently, or not at all. That difference is power. Private discipline also means controlling what you consume. Constant outrage input creates a reactive nervous system. News, social media, drama. If you flood your mind with emotional content, you cannot expect calm output. Garbage in, garbage out. Reduce emotional noise. Calm is cultivated.
This chapter matters because emotional control is not a switch, it is a muscle. Muscles grow through resistance. Every time you resist reacting, you strengthen it. Every time you indulge reaction, you weaken it. There is no neutrality. You are always training or untraining. And when pressure arrives publicly, your training shows. In the next chapter, we address a dangerous misconception: detachment. Because detachment is often misunderstood as coldness. In truth, detachment is clarity, and clarity is one of the highest forms of strength.
Chapter 9. Detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. Most people fear detachment because they confuse it with indifference. They think detachment means you don't care. They think it means you're distant, cold, or unfeeling. That belief keeps them emotionally entangled, and entanglement keeps them weak. Detachment is not the absence of care. It is the absence of control. When you are attached, outcomes control you. When you are detached, you control yourself. This is one of the hardest lessons in emotional mastery. You can care deeply without being emotionally hijacked. You can commit fully without being reactive. That balance is clarity. Attached minds suffer. Detached minds decide. Repeat that. Attached minds suffer. Detached minds decide. Attachment collapses perspective. It narrows your vision. When you are attached, everything feels personal. Every outcome feels urgent. Every disagreement feels threatening. Detachment restores distance. Distance restores choice. This is why emotionally strong people seem calm in uncertainty. They are not emotionally tied to outcomes they cannot control. They focus on actions. They release results. Most people do the opposite. They obsess over results and neglect actions. That creates anxiety. Anxiety is not a sign of caring. It is a sign of attachment without control. Detachment says, I will do my part fully, then I will let go. Letting go is not giving up. It is refusing to suffer unnecessarily. This applies everywhere, in relationships, in careers, in negotiations, in conflict. If you are attached to being liked, you will be manipulated. If you are attached to being right, you will argue endlessly. If you are attached to outcomes, you will panic under pressure. Detachment removes these hooks. People cannot pull you if you are not tied to their approval. That is freedom. Here is a hard truth. Most emotional pain comes not from events, but from resistance to events. You fight reality. Reality always wins. Detachment accepts reality without surrendering agency. You see what is, then you decide what to do. That sequence is power. Here is a behavioral instruction. Separate identity from outcome. You are not your results. You are not others' reactions. You are not today's situation. When something fails, you do not collapse. When something succeeds, you do not inflate. You stay centered. Centered people are hard to shake. Another instruction: stop taking things personally. Most behavior has nothing to do with you. It reflects others' fears, limits, and conditioning. When you personalize everything, you carry weight that isn't yours. Drop it. Detachment lightens you. Here is an example. Someone criticizes your work. Attachment says, they're attacking me. Detachment says, this is information. Information can be used. Attacks drain energy. Choose information. Another example. A relationship changes. Attachment panics. Detachment adapts.
Adaptation is strength. Here is the key repetition. Care deeply, cling lightly. That is emotional maturity. You engage fully without losing yourself. This chapter connects directly to emotional control. You cannot be calm if you are gripping outcomes tightly. Grip creates tension. Tension triggers reaction. Release creates ease. Ease restores control. Detachment creates space between stimulus and response. That space is where mastery lives. And now we arrive at the final chapter. Because emotional control is not about winning moments, it is about endurance. The calm mind outlasts the emotional one, and that truth changes everything.
Chapter 10. The calm mind always outlasts the emotional one. Emotion burns fast. Calm burns long. This is the final truth of emotional mastery. Emotional people sprint through life. Calm people endure it. Endurance always wins. Look around you. Who collapses first under pressure? Who burns bridges? Who destroys relationships, careers, reputations? Not the calm ones. The emotional mind seeks intensity. The calm mind seeks sustainability. And life is not won through intensity, it is won through consistency. Emotional people peak early and fade. Calm people compound. They make fewer mistakes. They recover faster. They stay standing when others exhaust themselves. This is why calm is strength. Not because it feels powerful in the moment, but because it survives the long game. Emotional reactions cost energy. Energy is finite. Calm responses conserve energy. Conservation extends capacity. That is endurance. Every emotional outburst steals from the future. Every calm decision invests in it. Most people are broke emotionally. They spent everything reacting. Calm people are rich in capacity. They saved their energy. This is why calm people appear lucky. They are not. They simply did not sabotage themselves. Think long-term. Relationships are not destroyed by one argument. They are destroyed by repeated emotional leakage. Careers are not ruined by one mistake. They are ruined by patterns of reactivity. Reputations are not lost overnight. They erode through emotional inconsistency. Calm protects all three. Here is the final repetition. Emotional control is not suppression, it is selection. You choose what deserves energy. You choose what deserves reaction. You choose what deserves engagement. Everything else gets nothing. That selectivity creates longevity. Calm people age better, think clearer, lead longer, because their nervous system is not constantly at war. This audiobook was never about becoming emotionless. It was about becoming unshakable. Unshakable people are not rigid. They are flexible without breaking. They adapt without losing center. That is real strength. Now connect all the lessons. Emotional reactions leak power. Calm seals it. Calm is strategic. Leaders control their emotions. Most conflicts are traps. The nervous system must be trained. Silence applies pressure. Unreadability protects leverage. Private discipline builds public strength. Detachment creates clarity. Endurance wins the long game. This is the architecture of emotional control. And now the responsibility is yours. You don't need to change everything today. You need to change one thing consistently. Pause before reacting. Slow the body. Choose calm.
Do it once, then again, then make it your default. Strength is not how hard you react, it is how little you are moved. And from this point forward, you no longer give your power away cheaply, because emotional control is the highest form of strength.
You've heard the truth now. Not theory, not motivation, truth. Strength is not reaction. Strength is restraint. Every time you pause instead of react, you reclaim power. Every time you stay calm under pressure, you rise above the situation instead of sinking into it. You are no longer controlled by tone, by disrespect, by urgency, by other people's chaos. You decide. Calm is not weakness. Calm is dominance without noise. Calm is confidence that doesn't need permission. From today forward, you do one thing differently. You slow down, you pause, you choose. For the next 30 days, react less, speak slower, say fewer words, let silence work for you. Watch how people change when they realize they can't provoke you anymore. Watch how your mind clears. Watch how your power returns. If this audiobook strengthened you, stay with this channel. Because peace is not the goal. Control is. And emotional control is the highest form of strength.